Hello everyone. Today I will talk about phantom limbs, which is a phenomenon where people continue to feel a limb even after it has been amputated. The vast majority of people who lose a limb continue to feel it after amputation. These sensations are not vague memories. They can be vivid, detailed, and lifelike. People report feeling fingers, joints, pain, pressure, and even movement. This phenomenon is known as phantom limb, and it challenges our basic understanding of how the brain represents the body. So, how real are phantom limbs? They're like lifelike sensations, and they often feel extremely real. Some amputees can flex phantom fingers or feel sensations like itching, pressure, or pain. Others experience automatic actions such as trying to grab objects or using the missing limb without thinking. These experiences show that phantom limbs are not imagined, they are deeply embodied experiences. And they can last days, years, or decades. Phantom limbs, not a hallucination. Amputees clearly know and see that the limb is missing. However, the feeling of the limb persists. This tells us that different systems in the brain contribute to body awareness and they can come into conflict with one another. So, you may ask, why do phantom limbs occur? The realism of phantom limbs suggests that the brain contains an internal map of the body. This map does not simply disappear when a limb is removed. As long as the brain representation remains, the limb can continue to be experienced, even in the absence of physical input. And here is an illustration of the cortical homunculus. Phantom limbs and pain. One striking difference between real limbs and the phantom limbs is that phantom limbs are often painful. After amputation, nerve signals change at multiple levels of the nervous system. These changes can amplify pain signals even without any external stimuli. From limb to brain. Sensory signals normally travel from the limb through the spinal cord to the brain. Even after amputation, much of this pathway remains intact. As a result, abnormal or amplified signals can still reach the brain and be interpreted as coming from the missing limb. Somatosensory cortex. In the somatosensory cortex, the entire body is mapped. Sensitive areas like the hands and lips occupy larger regions. This map is plastic and it can grow or shrink depending on use, injury, or experience. Even after amputation, the cortical representation of the limb may persist, leading to phantom sensations. Mirror box therapy. This therapy technique uses visual feedback to create the illusion that the missing limb is moving. This illusion can reduce phantom pain by satisfying the brain's expectation of movement. New approaches, such as virtual reality, are expanding this technique. Phantom limbs without amputation. Aplastic phantom limb. Aplastic phantom limbs are phantom sensations experienced by individuals who were born without a limb. This phenomenon is especially important because it cannot be explained by sensory or motor memory. In their study, Berger and colleagues examined a woman born without arms and legs who experienced vivid phantom sensations of all four limbs. Functional imaging showed that phantom movements activated premotor and parietal areas rather than the primary motor cortex. The study also found evidence of cortical reorganization as movements of existing body parts activated cortical regions typically associated with the missing limbs. However, the authors emphasize that cortical reorganization alone cannot explain aplastic phantom limbs, suggesting the involvement of higher level action related body representations. So, what do phantom limbs teach us? Phantom limbs show us that our experience of the body is constructed by the brain. The body is not only something we perceive, but something we act through. These phenomena reveal how deeply subjective and embodied our everyday experience really is. So, in conclusion, we know that phantom limbs are real and embodied experiences, not as simple illusions or hallucinations. While sensory memory and cortical reorganization contribute to phantom sensations, they are also not sufficient to fully explain them. And evidences from aplastic phantom limbs shows us that body representation in the brain does not depend entirely on prior physical experience. Instead, phantom limbs appear to arise from persistent, action-based representations of the body, shaped by both brain plasticity and motor planning. And studying phantom limbs therefore helps us understand how the brain constructs the experience of having a body. And thank you for listening.